Evening all. Evening everyone. So, what a weekend. The amount of there's been no fights on. Well, there has been, but very few. There's been a few fights on, but what was that? Yeah, there's been a few fights on, but the amount of news between Bellew, Wilder, who was it as well? Mark Breland. Seen a few people say that Wilder had an interview and he basically had a go at Mark Breland. I don't know who he had the interview with, but it'd be interesting to see it. It'd be interesting to see who he was on with. Let's get a few people in here. And we'll get chatting as per usual. I like doing these Sunday streams that a little bit earlier. Do you know, sort of way I like doing these at kind of 6 bells because it's just nice. It's just nice. Gives me kind of a bit of time to free up the evening. I tell you one thing, guys. Once things do get back to normal, right, at lockdown's end, and I can start doing things again on a like a Sunday with some of the lads or whoever, these streams are gonna stay, even if I have to do them like a little bit earlier. I bloody love doing these on a Sunday. They're absolutely great fun. So a few people in the chat. Let's see who we have. We've got George in here. Dropping a like 50 minutes earlier just cause I can. Yeah. Yeah, that's it, man. He's dropping a like 50. Yeah. What time was it? 5:14. Just cause you can. Just cause you can. Just cause you can. Big up to Tony every time. Big up to you, my man. What's up, brother? Hope you're well. Man, I'm brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. MO or JO is ready. Big up to Nick. Big up G-Man and the chat. Smash the like button on the way in if you could. Hashtag G-Man's rocks as always. Thank you, my man. Big up to you every single time, Nick. And as if you could, smash the like button on the way in. It'd be a big help. And yeah, I seen that stream as well. I was in Julius's stream. Well, I wasn't. I was just in the chat listening. Lou DiBella. That's someone who I'd love to interview. There are so many questions I would have for Big Lou. Lou DiBella seems like a cool guy, to be fair. I think he's in his 60s now, but Lou DiBella is cool. That was a good interview by Ring IQ. Shout out to Ring IQ as well, by the way. If you haven't seen his channel, and I have 3,000, he's 13,000, but big up to Ring Boxing IQ every time. Julie really knows his stuff, man. Really knows his stuff. Yeah, big up to Rich. Yes, G-Man. Hashtag G-Man's rock. You got to get that trending. Halim. Hashtag G-Man's rocks. What do you say? You got to have trouble with names again. I only had trouble with one name in the last. Well, I only had trouble with one name last Sunday. Right. So hopefully not. And you know what I always say? You learn from your mistakes. I bloody made sure to learn from that one. What you think Bellew will do if Sky fire him? Well, first things first. Sky ain't gonna fire Bellew. They're not gonna fire him. But what they will do is they'll probably just reduce the amount of shows he's on. And I think that what they'll end up doing is he'll only cover, we'll say, like the next gen kind of shows. If they start doing them again, that's really kind of what they'll do. That's really kind of all they'll do. Okay, they won't do anything else with him. If they actually did fire him, well, as someone commented in the chat, not in the chat, on the video I did yesterday, well, maybe he can finally stay home with his family. You know, I love that parody Bellew account that comes up in the chat sometimes. It's funny as hell. So the minute I met, he must be a subscriber with multiple channels. That's the only thing I can think of, because every single time I'm talking about him in a stream or something, he ends up popping up in the chat. Big up to G-Man. Now, I haven't said that in ages, man. I have a plaque that someone sent me back in the summer, and I had that on it. And I still have that hanging up in my kitchen. I used to use that as the intro before I ended up getting what I have now. I haven't said that in ages. Yeah, Julius's interview was great, man. And Julius is good. Yo, big up to Tommy. Man, I'm already messing names up, and I'm only not even 5 minutes into this. Good video on Bellew. Yeah, you know, I could have went in a little bit more. But you know, it was what it was. It was what it was. If someone says there, Bellew will do punditry for MTK. Could you imagine? Because the MTK punditry is actually not bad. You got Barry Jones on there. It's not bad, man. MTK's punditry isn't bad, to be fair. Sky Sports is by far and away just, good Lord. Man, Saint Retro Football, big up to you, man. Yo, they think they should get me for Sky Sports. Well, I am available, you know, just in case. But I don't know. I do. I see that they wouldn't like that. You see, I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be able to do it. Like, I know myself, like, if I was in a position where I had to interview someone I didn't like, you know, as a person, not necessarily a fighter. I can keep professional, and obviously I wouldn't let my opinion get in the way. But if they told me, you know, go and say this fighter is brilliant, he's all these things and more, and I know he's not, if it was on commentary or something, and like if he was making mistakes, I'd be like, he's making mistakes. Like I'm not gonna just be like, oh, he's amazing, and you know, call that right hand that didn't land. I'm not gonna do that. That would be an issue. Like that would really be a. I'd hate that. That would absolutely just wreck my head if I did that. Big up to Kira. Just leaving it at that. Just leave it at that. Big up to Kira. I'm just leaving it there. I got it right. You know, I got it right. You spell it the same as Kira Knightley. That's how I remember it in future. That's how I'm going to remember it in future. So, oh my God. You see, you just, I'm not used to seeing it spelled like that. I'm not used to seeing it spelled like that. You know, it's different when I get some of these, you know, the Eastern European fighters' names wrong. Like, I know he's French, but Obale, is it Naner Obale? I can't pronounce his name at all. I remember Mark Unrivaled even sent me a WhatsApp, like breaking the name down. It's like Obale, and I couldn't get that right. But yeah, that's an easy name, apparently. So I'll get it right in future. 28 in the chat. Smash the like button on the way in. If you could, lads. If you could. But yeah, no, see, that'd be the big problem. Too objective for Sky Sports. It'd be too hard. It'd be way too hard for me because I just, if I say, look, I wouldn't be this blunt, but if I see someone and they're shit, like a fighter, I'll just be like, oh, well, he's just not very good. And even if it was, it's like, does anyone remember? And this is one reason why I love Paulie Malignaggi. Does anyone remember when, what was the guy's name? When Linares fought Crawler in the first fight. All right. Do you remember that was not a close fight? Linares won that fight fairly comfortably. But do you remember Sky had it like razor close? I think they had it razor close to Linares on one scorecard. And I think it was during they had Paulie Malignaggi commentate with Carl Froch and the other guy, Adam Smith. They had those two. So after a while, they were bigging up like some of the little things Crawler was doing to the point where Paulie Malignaggi even said, guys, what are we watching? Because what I'm watching is one guy clearly dominating. What are we talking about? And you noticed that I think Carl Froch had him ahead at one stage. And I know myself that after that, the commentary kind of got a bit more in favor of, right, they were calling it more like it was. But yeah, I remember that was mad. But you know, Sky just, man, yeah, Tony, BBC bullshit, because we know about that. Did I watch the Panorama documentary on organised crime involving the sport of boxing? Noticed a lot of casual fans shocked about this. Look, I didn't watch it. I've no intention of watching it. I've just no intention of watching it. Look, the minute I heard about it, I knew it was on before I watched it. I heard about it. I was like, and then I heard Barry McGuigan to be on it. I was like, oh man, this is going to be an absolute. They are just going to absolutely ridicule the whole sport. And look, from what I've heard, it's not been great. I've seen the clips of Barry McGuigan, and look, I'm just saying it like it is. He just seems more peeved off that two fighters who would have made him a good bit of money are no longer with him and are with MTK. That's what it sounds more like to me. Like he had Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor could have made him a good bit of money. He had Carl Frampton. And Carl Frampton, like I said in the last live stream, Carl Frampton never struck me as someone who would, how do I describe it? In a nice way. He never struck me as someone who would come out saying what he was saying about wanting to, you know, do what he did onto, you know, the McGuigans. That has a lot of hate. So obviously they really did do something pretty damn bad in order for that to come about. You know, they really did. So, you know, that's what I got to say on that. That's what I got to say on that. Let's go. Oh, yeah, I seen that. That's just silly. That's just absolutely ridiculous what he said. Is this going to be the new thing now, how fighters like duck? Because that's a duck, if ever I heard it. Like, I mean, what the hell? Like, you know, how come, right, put it like this, right? If he's on about a you-know-what, well, why did he fight? Why is he fighting at all? Why did he fight Derevchenko then, if he's so worried about it? You know, just my opinion, you know, because there wasn't anything when he fought Derevchenko, but he was happy to get in the ring and fight. So why is he? That's just a straight up, I don't want to fight this guy. As simple as it's all it is. Big up the boxing fam. Shout out to you, my man. Wilder's the biggest joke in boxing. I've never seen some. Yeah, you can't write it. I mean, with Wilder, I never seen anything quite like it myself. Like, I've seen excuses. I've seen fighters come out with silly excuses about this, that, and the other. As I just kicked the table. I've seen him come out with silly excuses before, but this guy takes the biscuit. Like, I mean, his fans were saying during the summer that they had the evidence and the proof that Fury did cheat and that they were going to observe. Well, it's now 2021, February 2021, and there's still been nothing to exonerate it. So, that is what that is. Man, it goes beyond it. It's just crazy. Tony, big up to you. Been looking forward to this all day. That's what I said, man. Whenever the lockdowns do finally end and I can start doing stuff on Sundays with some of the lads, or you know what, it ain't going to make a difference. I'm still going to try and get these live streams in as much as I can. I'm still going to do this because these are fun. I still like doing this. Joe Stunner. Mark's still ducking you, is he? Mark's still ducking you. The family size monster munch was asking a lot, wasn't it? Ethan, how's your Sunday going? It's going fine, man. It is going absolutely swimmingly. What else do we have? Because I missed a good few of these things. Oh, okay, let's have a look see at this. G-Man, you think Tony would have beaten David Haye in his prime? Nope, not a hope. I think that the David Haye he fought. Now, I knew David Haye. He looked weird. I mean this in the best way. He looked all over the shop against Mark Demori and that Jujai guy. Not in terms of he looked like he won the fight, but everything, his movement, even the way he was dragging his feet, he just looked off. And I didn't know he was as shot as he was. I mean, Jesus Christ, he was bad. But a prime Haye, no, I think that he's a sharpshooter. Bellew, look what happened when Bellew fought someone similar style to David Haye, not quite the same, but similar in his prime when he fought Adonis Stevenson. We saw what happened there. I mean, I reckon something similar would have happened. I reckon he would have got probably iced fair in similar fashion. I know, I say it would have been similar fashion. So, that's what I got to say on that. Barry McGuigan was good friends with him, that lad. Yeah. I mean, so was Lord Mountbatten. Yes, G-Man, big up to you and the Swords crew. The Swords crew. Jesus. I wonder, are there any guys from Swords in the chat, actually? Any of the guys from Swords in the chat? That'd be funny. Swords is like a big part of Dublin, though. Swords is a big part of Dublin, but I'll tell you one thing. When someone's not from there. I remember someone said to me once, I was actually talking to her. It was the first time I ever met this person. And she was talking to me, and I could tell by her accent she wasn't from around. And I was like, where are you from? I'm from Swords. I didn't say anything, but in my head I was like, no, you're fucking not. Not with that accent. She wasn't. Big up to Kieran. Big up to my guy G-Man. Hashtag G-Man's Rock. Big up to Lee. Yes, G-Man. Big love from Watford. Watford, UK. Watford, is that it? That's in London, isn't it? Or is it? I think I said that was in London once, and someone went absolutely, like, really, well, in a nice way. They weren't, like, dicks about it, but they were, like, really pissed off that I said Watford was in London. And I was like, okay. Well, obviously, like, you can tell by the accent that I'm not from the UK, so I don't know all the counties. Jesus. Does anyone still watch IFL? Seems it's the same 20 people on the channel, mostly Matchroom guys. I watch some IFL interviews, to be honest with you, some of them. I tell you, since Coogan got the whole, is your deck keeping you up at night? Since he got rid of that, I've been a little bit more willing to watch it, to be honest with you. Is your deck keeping you up at night? Or is your deck causing you sleepless nights? I don't even know. That's definitely a British accent, but I don't know what part of the UK that be. Is your deck? That's like East London, isn't it? Kind of like, Terry from East London. Is your deck causing you sleepless nights? Of course they are getting tanked 4-1 at Anfield by Man City. Of course they are. I think it's kind of done and dusted with the league now at this stage. I think City still have a game in hand on United. Oh, man. I actually genuinely was, like, starting to believe that United would get the league after a while. Like, when I was looking, I was like, this could be good. And then it's like, nope, looks like it's a City. Looks like it's City all the way. Every day they seem to be videos. Eddie Hearn, I think you mean. Colwell or Nelson. Yeah, they don't seem to have much of a variety. Like Boxing Social, IFL, Coogan and James, when James was part of IFL, they've done a lot of good for the interviewing. But damn, I much prefer Boxing Social. I think Rob is a great interviewer. It's just a shame that he's not invited to more. Like, remember when he was in the bubble in one of the Matchroom shows and he grilled Adam Smith about the hike in pay-per-view? That was brilliant because he really didn't let him go. But that was asking for trouble. That was seriously asking for trouble. Yo, big up to Dale, Blue Collar Sports TV. Shout out to Blue Collar Sports TV. I did get a chance to watch Ty Boots' latest video. Funny as always. That guy cracks me the hell up, I swear to God. I was only there last Sunday or something. I think it was last Saturday or last Sunday watching like some of his old videos. Man. And he still gets these videos monetized. I don't know how the hell he still can. It's crazy. Maybe G-Man is a closet Kinahan enforcer. Definitely not, man. Definitely not. I'm in the part of Dublin where literally, I think you seen it in the video I done the other night, right? Where literally, I forget which video it was. I think it was like the Daniel Dubois video, where literally I had the curtains opened, right? So I could see out the window. And I'm sitting on my chair recording the video with these blue lights from a guard car go by. And like literally where I'm from in Dublin, if you see a guard where I'm from, it's just like, oh, what? Why is there a guard around here? So yeah, definitely not. Definitely not where I'm from. Where I'm from actually is not too bad because it's kind of country. So a lot of like the locals are kind of to their own, if you know what I mean. Like, put it like this, no one's afraid to go around to other people's houses, you know? And there's no risk of any neighbors. You know, if you're having people over, none of the neighbors are going to say shit to you, which is good. Panorama episode wasn't bad at all, though it didn't really reveal anything we didn't already know. It was more like an expose of Kinahan's money laundering and rants against boxing. Yeah, like loads of, like, I remember Piers Morgan having a rant about boxing on that Good Morning Britain. Like, I mean, people rant about boxing because look at the nature of the sport, but like at the end of the day, would they put it like this, right? If some of those people were making as much money as some of these, you know, promoters and all were doing, would they be complaining? Or if they had people who were doing, you know, if there was shenanigans going on in other sports, would they be so quick to point it out as well? At the end of the day, boxing is, when you really get into it, boxing is a hell of a sport. It's vicious, but it's a hell of a sport. And it's always had associated with the mob. I mean, if you go on to some old 1930s fights on BoxRec, go on to like their BoxRec, like you go on to like someone like Primo Carnera or Young Strebling, he was a heavyweight back in the 30s. They'll show you like their record and they'll be like, oh, he won this fight by a like 5th round DQ, and underneath it will be in brackets, this fight was likely fixed, this fight was likely fixed, this fight was likely fixed. Sure, they said that Dempsey, when he rematched Gene Tunney, that Al Capone, who was a bootlegger in Chicago in the 20s, he was allegedly put a bet on Tunney to win. And if you watched how the referee behaved in that fight, you would say, yeah. I think he said he put something like 50 grand on Tunney to win, which is crazy in the 20s. Because Dempsey got that long count, but then the next round, Dempsey got dropped. And the referee didn't even acknowledge the neutral corner, he just started counting. So there's always been issues like that in boxing. You're always going to have it. Kinahan has been good for boxing MTK fighters. That's what I've heard. You know, I've never had any dealings with MTK myself, but I've heard they treat their fighters fine. You know, they treat their fighters fine. I mean, like, look at someone like a Don King. I mean, Jesus Christ, that says it all. Like, I mean, that is a gangster. He was a gangster, Don King, actually. So, yeah. Also, G-Man, remember the Matchroom boys, particularly Bellew, made out O'Hara Davis made fun of Hillsborough. Think what you want about Davis, but that was despicable by Bellew. Yeah, look, I can't forgive my ignorance if anyone is fans or anything like that, but I still don't fully know. I know of Hillsborough, but I'm not 100% sure what exactly happened because I've never really, I've liked football, but I've never been that much of a fan. I wouldn't comment on it because I don't know enough about it. But O'Hara Davis even said himself he didn't know anything about it. And, you know, I think they were too quick to jump down O'Hara Davis's throat, because I honestly don't know the ins and outs of Hillsborough personally. Wilder Martin fight off, it's looking that way. Even in the box of the Lone Star, yeah, it's looking that way. If that fight was ever even going to take place at all. Hopefully Wilder will price himself out of any comeback so we don't have to see that twat again. Yeah, man, I really... look, to be honest with you, though, I do like Wilder in a sense. Like, I think he's an idiot. I do think he's an idiot, that I will admit. But in terms of watching him fight, I do like watching Deontay Wilder fight. Like, that's one thing I have to say about him. It's that excitement. Like, I mean, when I first started watching Wilder fight, I think the first time I watched him fight was like 2014 when he fought Jason Gavin, I think the guy's name was. I liked watching him fight then. It was fun. But you get the impression he's not the most switched on. But I love seeing guys who are explosive. I do like watching it. So I wouldn't be devastated if we saw him again. I'd watch him. But I definitely think at this stage, unless he gets the Fury fight, he's not fighting again. He'll just want too much money, more than he's worth. They accused Tyson with no evidence, just like the PPA, exactly. Literally. How come the Glovegate thing has gone this far? Everyone noticed immediately that the pics were from the first. I know, that's the funny thing, right? Because I remember the first time I ever seen them talk about Glovegate. I remember looking at it and just thinking, that's the first fight. Because he'd Everlast gloves on. Because I love boxing gloves. I think I've done reviews of them on the channel before. I love boxing gloves. And I was like, they're Everlast gloves. We wore them in the first fight. He had Paffin Sport on in the second fight. Paffin Sport are common amongst Eastern European fighters. Eastern European fighters tend to like them. I know Klitschko used to wear them. And I was looking, I was like, why are they showing footage of that? And that's how horsehair gloves go, because there's no real, if you ever see like a deformed horsehair gloves, like look at Povetkin when he fought Michael Hunter. That horsehair glove, because he had Everlast on, they deform real bad because of the horsehair in them. It's not really meant to, it's not like foam, which is just solid. The horsehair will kind of go all over the place. So I was looking, I was like, no, there's nothing new there. But I suppose like people will just take any story and try and run with it, I suppose. You take that Glovegate story and like put it like this, right? There was people who were making up like, you know, streams and all that. They were talking about Glovegate and they were getting the viewers, they were getting the super chats. So I suppose that was just in their best interest to talk about it. Big up to Ra, shout out to you. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's a good question. I think a Prime Haye beats Usyk at cruiserweight. Definitely, I don't know who would win that fight. It's too tricky. That's a tricky fight for me, because Usyk had a better career at cruiserweight than David Haye, I believe anyway. But from a style point of view, look at the problems Usyk had when people kind of just took a step back and counterpunched, like Myers Breedis, right? Usyk was a little bit, I thought he won the Breedis fight, but it was razor close. Like if you'd given that fight to Breedis, I wouldn't have had a problem. And I think that David Haye could implement the same strategy. He's more athletic, he's more explosive than Breedis. So to me, that fight will be just so interesting. What I will say is Breedis has always shown a decent chin, and David Haye was put down by guys like Lenga Mock. He was stopped by Carl Thompson. He was put down by Mormek. So you would imagine that Usyk would have the power to be able to bother. He would have the power to be able to bother David Haye. Just in my opinion, I think he would. So, but to me, it's a great fight. Oh, man. I'm glad you're not asking me to pick, because I honestly couldn't tell you. Who would I pick? I will pick someone anyway. I always like giving a prediction. If that fight, hypothetically speaking, happened and you had a Prime Haye, I'd probably edge towards David Haye to win the fight. Probably, but I wouldn't be 100% convinced. Joe says Mark is still ducking me, even though I lowered my purse to a packet of Jaffa cakes. By the way, you need the Jaffa cakes before the fight. They're part of his fitness regimen. When I saw that video, or when I saw that like thing on Twitter about Wilder at pricing himself and saying he wanted 8 million, the first thing I thought of was, I remember I had a stream where someone said that. And I went back because I knew I'd done a live stream with a panel, because I don't do many panels. And I was like, I've done one before with a panel, and I knew someone did it. And I remember like flicking through, I was like, there it is, that was it. As like Joe asking Mark, yeah, I think we were talking about Mark's if he was ever to turn pro. We were on about who will he fight. Like we were looking at like the crappiest heavyweights you could find, like the literally like 0 wins and 50 losses. We were like, you want to fight him? I know he's too good. He's only got like 10 knockout defeats in 50 fights. He's going the distance. Fuck that. He's too good. You'd think Wilder would get a mandatory shot with the WBA or WBC soon. I can't see WBC. I can't see WBC. Maybe WBA. God knows what happens there. Wouldn't be shocked if the winner of if WBC or the winner of Povetkin Wilder to fight or I'm all over the place. Or the Povetkin versus White to fight Wilder with a 50-50 split. That wouldn't shock me at all. The WBC tend to look after former champions quite well. And what I mean by that is they will give, like, look at Danny Garcia. Like, he lost his title. He was straight back in #1 ranked. I think he lost the vacant shot against Errol Spence, and he was back again, #1 ranked WBC. They tend to give their former champions a lot of sway. Watford is outside London. All right. Because I know London so well. I know the UK that well, man. You would actually miss Wilder if he retires. I suppose, to be fair, yes and no. I'd miss the fighting, but I wouldn't miss the silliness. No, it's not in London. All right. Far north of London. Is it in like London, like the county, or is it in a different county altogether? Is it in like London County or a different county altogether? Because I have no idea. Like some of these counties, I'm just looking at them and I'm like, is that a county or is that not? Sure, what is it? Is like Cornwall? Is that a county or is that just a town? Because like my knowledge of the counties in the UK is shocking. It really is. Will the BBC? Oh, that's actually a good question. By Ben, will the BBC documentary on Kinahan affect Matthew Macklin's position as a Sky commentator? Was he brought up in the documentary? Because if he wasn't brought up in the documentary, I can't see it really having that much of an effect on it, to be honest with you. Because if you're talking about casuals, then, you know, how would you, you know what I mean? Like, if you're talking about casuals, how would they know that Matthew Macklin's associated unless it's mentioned? Because I know a lot of the guys who watch that would be like, they wouldn't be pure boxing fans. They'd just probably shocked, be like, oh my God, this is boxing? What's Mr. _ me say? I've got a lot of friends from Swords from doing seasons in Ibiza, best people I know. I've never been to Ibiza, so none of them were me. But yeah, a good few of the lads have been to Ibiza. A good few of the lads were in Ibiza. So yeah, not a place I'd really want to go to be honest with you. It honestly isn't. I don't know why. I'd rather go to somewhere like, you know, Vietnam or somewhere like that. And just go like proper travel. I wouldn't like to go Ibiza. I don't know why. But yeah, a few of the lads from Swords been out to Ibiza. A good few of them. Some of them stayed there for summers. So, but Swords is good people. Watford's north of London, about 20 minutes on the train. Used to live near there and know the area well. It's in Herefordshire. Okay, so it's in Herefordshire, right? I have no idea. I think some of these counties, I used to think Manchester was a county, then I realised it wasn't. And I used to think that Middlesbrough was a county. And now I know it's in Cleveland. Is that the name of the county, Cleveland? I think it is anyway. I could be all wrong. I could be absolutely all wrong with these counties. Like, I mean, I'm not that great with Irish counties either, so that is what that is. G-Man, you're the man to be telling us about how accurate the Panorama documentary was, given us from my hometown. Kinahan may be from Dublin, but the fuck if I know where. I don't even know whereabouts in Dublin they're based. Like, I'm from one, like, Dublin is kind of weird though, if you think about it, right? Because you've the south of Dublin, which is full of posh people. It is. Then you've kind of like the city and kind of like, you know, Ballymun and places like that, which kind of keep their own. Then you've where I'm from, which is kind of Fingal. And we just kind of keep to our own. You've Swords, Malahide, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Swords, Malahide, Portmarnock. And that's really it. So, and I don't know where the hell, I don't even know where he's from. So yeah, I'm not the man you want to be asking about that, to be honest with you. In Bloom. Great name. Evening G-Man, big up. There are rumors. Yeah, actually, I meant to do a video on this. Actually, completely forgot about it. 40 quid. I just hope that. Look, if they're doing, I can see why they're doing it for a fight like that. I understand that completely. I just hope they won't decide to do that moving forward. I really hope they won't do that moving forward. In terms of, will I pay it? Yeah, I will. For this once off, I will. There are a lot of people out there, though, that won't be able to afford that, like, because times are tough. It's just the way it is. It's just what's going on. So will they be able to afford it? I don't know. But this could actually do good in some ways, because say it'll do good numbers on pay-per-view, but say they realize how many people stream it, they might be able to, they might actually look at that and think, maybe we need to change up these prices. We'll get more and more. And I don't know why they don't do it. They'll get more people paying. I'm genuinely, I'm sure they'll get more people paying if they actually have a decent price. Eddie Hearn was 4-0. Yeah, I knew he was an amateur. They called him Eddie Hill. Eddie Hill. Oh, you remember that? Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That was funny. And all I got to say was big up to Rob Tebbert on that. Big up to Rob Tebbert on that. Big up to Rob Tebbert on that. He really wasn't letting go. He really wasn't letting go. James Helder, I think, is a football channel nowadays. I used to like James Helder on IFL. I didn't mind him. Some people didn't like him. They thought he was annoying. I didn't mind James Helder when he was on IFL. He was all right. I live in Dublin, and all you have to do is to go into the North Inner City to see the damage that man caused to the city. Anyone that defends him is scum, simple as. Don't know the guy, never dealt with anything to do with that. So, and I'm never in the North Inner City, but I don't know him, so I don't speak on someone I don't know, and I don't pay attention to any of these drug crimes or anything like that. It's just not me. It's not what I'm into. So I never pay attention to anything like that. How many things can we say with brutal honesty? I have no idea. Could a prime Lennox Lewis beat Tyson Fury? Yeah, I'd go with as it stands now, I'd go with Lennox Lewis to beat Tyson Fury. I just reading Joe Stunner's comment there. Piers Morgan was and always will be a prick who knows fuck all about everything. Yeah, he's a horrible, 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 horrible man. He should stick to doctoring photos, bro. He's a trapping, vile. Piers Morgan is absolutely not nice. That's the best way. He's just not. I don't like Piers Morgan at all. Really is a terrible. He's despicable. He's absolutely despicable. What do you think the purpose? Do you know what, Nick? I think the purpose for that is they know that people are going to buy that, and they know that putting the price like that, people will still buy it, even if times are tough. They'll still buy that just for the event, for the sake of it. And this is not your ordinary fight. This is one of those fights that, while the rematch for Wilder Fury was big, Klitschko Joshua was big, this is bigger, because Klitschko Joshua was kind of like, Klitschko coming to the end, is it too early for Joshua? This is when we know both guys are established and we know both guys are good to go. This is a bit, and both guys, I would say that Joshua, his peak for his kind of stardom, for want of a better word, was probably 2016, 2017, maybe even 2018. That was kind of when, probably about 2018 was Joshua's peak stardom. That's when he had probably his most fans. That was when he was filling out the stadiums after he lost to Ruiz, obviously. But even then, the few lackluster performances maybe diminished from that. Whereas Fury now, he's probably at his biggest that he's been in terms of his stardom with fans. So both guys, massive amount of fans. This is going to do seriously good numbers. And that's why they're going to do it. Because I think of it like this as well. If they're both running pay-per-views, I'll just say it now. I'm going to get the BT Sports. If they're both doing it for 40 quid, I'm going to pay for BT Sports because the commentary's better. Simple as. That's the only reason why I'm doing it. The commentary's better. They're going to take hits. If they would normally do 2 million buys, if one would do 2 million buys and they're splitting it, they might do 1 million buys each. So they're trying to just maximize their own revenue to make up for the fact that they're doing it over 2 broadcasts. As I said, if I had to pick which one I'm going to give my 40 quid to, I'm going to give it to BT Sports because I prefer them. I just prefer their commentary more so than anything else, not necessarily the quality. I'll just give it to them because I like their commentary better. Simple as. I can't listen to Adam Smith on commentary. I end up having to mute the commentary sometimes when I'm on, and I don't like doing that as well because I like hearing when we have fans. I like hearing the fans, so I don't like doing that. But sometimes I have to because it's just so annoying listening to them, and it's just how biased they are and how they don't give the other fight. Like I remember when it's a women's fight, but I remember when Rachel Ball fought Shannon Courtney. I mean, Matthew Macklin, that was just disgusting the way he was counting, calling shots that weren't landing and everything. It was just horrible. Big up to Tony, much respect, G-Man, and the chat. Smash the like button, lads. If you could, smash the like button. Haven't asked for it many times in this chat, but if you could, please, it would mean a lot to you, boy. Just so. Yeah, Al Capone offered to fix the Dempsey fight. Yeah, Al Capone, because see, that Dempsey rematch with Tunney was in Chicago, and he was the man in Chicago at the time. He was the bootlegger, Al Capone, during Prohibition. We're not far off Prohibition nowadays, lads. You know that? We're not far off it in 2020s. We're not a million miles away from there at this stage. Big up to Toby. Salute G-Man and the chat. Tony is in the house. Big up to you, man. Big up to you. Yo, Crazy D3 says, just finished watching the Wilder interview. It was with 78, was it? Lord have mercy, this guy is lost. He's talking about 78, you're talking about Wilder. Look, Wilder is someone I can't listen to. I can't listen to him in interviews because it's just you know what, it's just BS that he's talking. I just don't listen. I'm just like, nah, man, I'm just not even arsed. I'll name this account later. What are your thoughts on Josh Pretty Boy Kelly? He looks decent but gets caught too much. Yeah, he does. I think Gavin Essian's got to beat Josh Kelly personally. I just think that stylistically he's just a bit wrong for him. I think the Ray Robinson fight showed us a good bit about what Josh Kelly is and what he lacks. And unless he's improved a lot in the last year and a bit, which you never know, he might have, then I think we're going to see him get clipped a hell of a lot by Gavin Essian and lose the decision. That's just what I'm thinking. But I think that there's a good fighter there, but he relies too much on that flashiness. I don't think he hits hard enough to fight like that. I mean, like, if you look at someone like Nas, they could be flashy, move around, hands down. But if their opponent got anywhere next or near them, they're feeling absolute crazy power. With Josh Kelly, it's just like, what are you, like, look at Ray Robinson. Kelly looked all right early on. Then Ray Robinson was like, oh, you've no power. You can't punch, you can't hurt me. And look, he was all over him like a bad smell. So that's what I got to say on Kelly. You could prove me wrong, but I can't say it. You're literally PMSL. That was hilarious. I could do it without seeing right or wrong. Listen to that about bullshit. Oh, no, we're talking about the Wilder documentary or the Wilder interview. Oh, man. Big up to Stephen Mackin. Love the channel, G-Man. What's your opinion on Roy Jones openly ducking Steve Collins back in his heyday? Steve Collins was the most underrated fighter. Steve Collins was a good fighter. I think Roy Jones would have beat the crap out of Steve Collins personally if they fought in the 90s. Collins was a good fighter, don't get me wrong. He was a good fighter. He was trained by the Petronellis and Freddie Roach. But in terms of hitting, and he was underrated, yeah, definitely. He was better than people give him credit for. But in terms of Roy Jones, I mean, Jesus, he never would have beaten Roy Jones. Not in a million years would I pick Steve Collins to beat Roy Jones. He would have given it a good go, but I wouldn't have picked Ben to beat Roy Jones. I wouldn't have picked Eubank to beat Roy Jones, even in that Roy Jones at 168 in the 90s. Damn. That was as close to. There's no one's perfect. There's no such thing as an invincible fighter, but Roy Jones was close to. In the 90s at super middle, I mean, you go back and watch some of his, I mean, they were just, oh man. Wilder has done well to make what he has, let's be honest. Yeah, he has. He's done very well. Any news on Beterbiev? Yeah, he's fighting, I think, in March. I think he's fighting in March against Adam something the guy's name is. What happened to that young Pharaoh dude? All this crap about Glovegate, gets a load of money off Wilder fanboys, then just disappears. I don't know. I never watched any of his videos, mate, to be honest with you, so I can't really comment on it. I don't comment on things I don't really like research. Yeah, he's with Jimmy Tibbs now, isn't he, though? Is he with Jimmy Tibbs, or he was with Mark Tibbs as well? Billy Joe's been looking in decent shape, though, to be fair. He's been looking in decent shape. What the hell was that? Why did it do that? Fury got lucky against McDermott, but Wallin won most of the. But Wallin, he won most of the rounds. Fight could have been stopped on cuts. Yeah, I think with a different referee. I think if that could have happened and it hadn't been Fury, let's say for argument's sake, Otto Wallin had fought Robert Helenius. Just use him as an example, big tall guy, and that same cut would have happened, and this was just a regular show on PBC, ESPN, whatever. That fight would have been stopped. The referee would have stopped the fight on that cut. It wouldn't have lasted much longer, I believe, anyway, purely because the stakes were high. They knew what was coming in the shape of Usyk Wilder fight around the corner. They were not going to stop that fight. And that was a bad cut. It wasn't the worst cut I've ever seen, but it was bad. It was very, very, very bad. It was a very bad cut. Yeah, I seen that they're talking about moving Taylor's fight to the 22nd. That, to me, is the best idea, because I don't like it when they put big fights on, like 2 big fights on at the same day, because it kind of does take away from one. You know, you want to see them both. You know, I don't like that myself personally. I'd rather they just do them. I'd rather if you're doing one, even if it was a case of do one on the Friday, one on the Saturday, just so long as we can see them both, we're not having to pick. Because I would have watched the Canelo fight personally. Cornwall is a county at the south of UK. I thought that all right. Do you think the boxing fans will stop recognizing the WBC because of their decisions? It would change anything. I think that, no, I don't think they will. But I think the WBC will make decisions based upon what the fans are doing. Like, put it like this: Bridgerweight is going to go nowhere. That's why I'm not doing videos on it. And I think that will get binned sooner or later, because I don't think anyone wants it. And I think that I don't even think the fighters would really want it. So I think if you're talking about something like that, I think that's going to get phased out. But in terms of just not recognise the WBC, I don't think that will ever. I don't think that'll ever happen. But I think that like things like Bridgerweight and all that, they will phase that out in the coming years, or maybe sooner. Because who the hell is going to want to fight a Bridgerweight? Who the hell are they going to? It's going to be like the IBO trying to become a regular sanctioning body. It's not going to go anywhere. Oh, big up to the judge. Respect from the judge and the prudent man. Big up, man. Watford is a town in the country of Hertfordshire, or the county of Hertfordshire. Thank you. I'm learning every day. Cornwall is a county. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was a county. That's why I said I'd ask. He was brought up in the doc to talk about that. They talk about how we found the gym in Marbella with Kinahan. I remember that they used to use the type. Remember that they literally had the same MGM logo as they did in the MGM Grand. I was amazed they were able to get away with that for as long as they did, because they had that for a good while. I was amazed they got away with MGM for so long. Macklin was definitely brought up. Oh, was he? He sold his stake in MTK to a female associate, in voluntary or otherwise. Oh, right, because I knew he was heavily linked with them. Heavily linked. You think Tank need another fight at 135? I think Tank, if he can, should try and do the 130 route if he can. I think 130 is his best weight, personally. Watford have such talent, such as Elton John, George Michael, Ginger Spice. I don't know which one she is. Which one is Ginger Spice? What's her real name? Because I don't know any of them. I think Victoria Beckham was in there, but which one's Ginger Spice? Anthony Joshua, I know he's from Watford. And you got Shannon Courtney as well. Is Shannon Courtney from Watford? I didn't know that. I thought she was from London. Can't say, but ask the coach. Big up the coach. I always get his last name wrong. Oh, what we got here? Why is it not letting me click on these? Sorry, lads. It's just not letting me click on some of these. 40 quid is a total rip-off. It's a fight box the fans deserves, but to see rich or poor, call it 20. Yeah, I reckon there's going to be a lot of people who won't be able to afford that because of the environment we're in nowadays. So for me, I think maybe just call it quits and maybe give it a 25, because I'm sure that if they really wanted to see a 25 is doable. 40 quid, really? Come on now. I will pay it. I'm very fortunate that I can, but I'll be paying it once, and that's a once off. It's never going to happen. If they do if they do another fight for 40 quid, they ain't getting my money. It'd be cracking all the way. All right, I don't watch these things. Guess I'm not Fury racist. Just taking the opportunity to okay. 59 in the chat. Smash the like button. How many likes do we have actually? Do we have in the chat? How many likes do we have? 39. Okay, so one more like we get to 40. Big up. Big up to everyone. I like this question. Can Marciano beat any of today's heavyweights? I'm sure there are some heavyweights today he probably could beat, but in terms of the top heavyweights, hell no. I mean, Marciano was very small. I mean, Marciano, seriously, people, today would probably be a super middleweight, light heavyweight. He cut very easy. I couldn't see him beating that, and he was in a very weak division. Like a lot of the guys, put it like this, a lot of the guys who were in their peak when he was fighting, Roland Lastarza, Harry Matthews, they were not, you don't remember them. And then he beat guys like Archie Moore, Ezra Charles, Joe Walcott, Joe Lewis. These were all past it. Oh, yeah, Ginger Spice is Jerry Halliwell. Yeah, she's married to an F1 guy. I remember that now. I just could never remember which one it was because they all had different names. And Ginger, Jerry Halliwell's not Ginger, is she? I'm nearly sure she's got blonde hair. Right there. I'm nearly sure Jerry Halliwell has blonde hair. Oh no, she does. But it's more brown. Or is it? Yeah, this stream's gone. Okay, well, thank you for that, Cara. No, fuck, Kira, shit. No, fuck. Shit. Kira, thank you for that. Watford. Oh, shit. Watford is to London what Lucan is to Dublin. Lucan is in Dublin, if anyone asks. Lucan is in Dublin. 40 quid, but you want a stacked card. I reckon they'll probably put someone like Chisora if he's still not gonna. I wouldn't be. Do you think you'd be asking too much, right? Say they did Fury Joshua in June, Usyk Chisora on the undercard. Now that's worth pay-per-view. And imagine having that Joe Parker versus Chisora on the undercard. And they'll probably stick maybe a collie if he gets through Glowacki. Simple enough, which I think he will. Kira says she'll pay 50 quid for the fight. Well, like I said, I'll pay it the one time, the 40 quid. But if they do, like, say AJ wins and he fights Usyk, for argument's sake, in his next fight, and they do it for 40 quid, I won't be paying it. Epic fail. I don't know even why yeah, it was funny. I don't know why I said that. I literally I just came to my head that I was like, shit. Oh, that was epic fail. Come on, G-Man, you were getting Kira's name right earlier. I was, yeah, but I don't know. I just had a lapse of concentration there. I don't know why. I just had a lapse of concentration. I was looking up Ginger Spice, Jerry Halliwell, and then all of a sudden they say Cara. At least I'm getting it right this time. Because even saying Kira last week was a job, I was like, is it Kira? Yeah, I got it now. Like Kira Knightley. Marciano could have easily made light heavyweight. Looks like he had trouble with Charles and Moore. Yeah, on the other hand, Rocky Marciano was born 40 years later. He'd probably be on a much bigger diet and training. Yeah, I still, like, I think even to his reach, he only had like a 60-something inch reach. I mean, you have featherweights with 60-something inch reaches, and he was a heavyweight fighting with that. I know arm length and reach are two different things, but if it's a good kind of guide. If you only had like a 60-something inch reach, your arms are not going to be that long. Marciano was very crude. Marciano he got hit a lot. You know, I remember, did you ever see his nose after the Charles fight where they kind of split his nose down the middle? I mean, Jesus. The Ezra Charles was a good fighter. He was you don't hear Ezra Charles get mentioned up, but Ezra Charles was a good fighter. He was very good, actually. Was Ezra Charles? That's a good question, actually, there. Buatsi versus Arthurs. That'd be a good fight. I would favor Buatsi. I think that Arthurs is good at long range, very good jab. But I think that Buatsi, with his more experience, will be able to get in on the jab and actually do some work up close. He's very methodical, this Joshua Buatsi. He didn't look amazing against that Kellic guy, but he wasn't bad. Yeah, he was useful. He was useful, definitely. But yeah, G-Man had a mare. I just had one of those moments where I don't even know. Just everything just kind of went blank, and I just ended up saying the completely wrong name. It happens. It happens. You know, I remember one of my friends' name is Brendan, right? We don't call him Brendan. We obviously call him Brent, B-R-E-N, right? And I used to always think it was B-R-I-N. So I used to call him Bryn, right? Like Bryn, like the guy in Gavin and Stacey, right? For about 4 years, and I used to get his last name wrong as well. For 4 years, I used to call him that all the time, right? And he never, ever, 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 ever corrected me on it until one of the days, one of the guys says to me, "You know, you're saying his name wrong." And I was like, "No, I'm not. I've been saying it to him for years." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, you were saying it wrong all along, but I just never thought to correct you." I was like, "Fuck you." And ever since then, it was already in my head. So every time I seen him, I still called him by the wrong name. It's only recently I've been able to call him Bren, because I know someone else with that name. But yeah, me and names have never, I don't know why, they've always been tricky. But definitely Kira is the trickiest name I've ever seen, because that's caught me out more times than anything. that name has literally caught me out more times than anything. Yeah, but you can take a fighter say seriously. They never admit to their shortcomings. Look at a few fights. The reflexes were not evading punches like that when they were 21. We talk about Roy Jones. Because if we're talking about Roy Jones, you could kind of start to see it. He was still, it kind of happened. For me, it was almost like overnight, kind of, if you think about it, that like he slowed down going into the first fight with Tarver, and then it looked like the reflexes were pretty much gonzo in the second fight, that second Tarver fight is sad watching. Ajagba versus Fury, Huey Fury. Oh, right now, Huey Fury, definitely. Ajagba needs a lot of work. Right, I like Ajagba. He's fun to watch. He's entertaining, but he's for someone who was a decent amateur. Like, he never really beat the best amateurs, to be fair, but he was a decent amateur. He is a bit raw. You know, he makes it. It's not that he's raw. He makes a few mistakes, which is fine. You can make the mistakes against the opponents he's fighting now. But if he wants to, he said it himself, he needs about 2 years before he thinks he's ready for world level. If you put him in there with Huey Fury now, although Huey Fury isn't world level, technically he's a lot better. I think he'd stay on his bike. I think Ajagba, he bores in a bit. He leaves his chin in the air. He makes a lot of mistakes. And, you know, I just think that, no. If you put him in there with Fury now, maybe in 2 years' time, if Ajagba's improved sufficiently, you know, it could be great, you know, it could be a different story altogether. But right now, no, I'd be confidently picking Huey Fury over F.A. Ajagba. Definitely. You can make a strong case for Ezra Charles as the greatest light heavyweight of all time. Ezra Charles was Ezra Charles was great in his prime, you know, beat Joe Lewis. I know that was a Joe Lewis who had seen better days, but Charles was brilliant. He's the only guy to go 15 rounds at Marciano. Ezra Charles probably the best light heavyweight I've ever seen. Not as great as Archie Moore, but great all the same. And you see, that's one of the reasons why I say Marciano was good, but would he have beaten Ezra Charles? Ezra Charles was kind of, he was closer to his prime than say Joe Walcott and Joe Lewis. But would he have beaten Joe Lewis in his prime? Who knows? I mean, I know Max Schmeling. You ever watch Schmeling versus Lewis? That was a good fight. The first fight was a good fight. You ever watch it? You know? 1936, I think it was. Jersey Joe Walcott versus Ezra Charles. I mean, Jesus, 38 years old, Joe Walcott knocking out Ezra Charles. Lads, unrivals in the building. Big up to Mark. How are you, man? How are you? Big up to you, my man. What's going on? Talking boxing. Sitting in my bedroom talking boxing. Wondering what I'm going to do tonight. Literally, wonder what I'm going to do tonight. Chantel Cameron versus Katie Taylor. Who do you think wins? Additionally, at that level, should women's fights be 3-minute rounds? Yes, they should be 3-minute rounds, definitely. It would improve the spectacle. We get more knockouts and stoppages. I think they should definitely have them 3-minute rounds. In terms of who I think could win, Cameron versus Taylor. I've seen a bit of Cameron. I've seen plenty of Katie Taylor. I favor slightly. I give it to Katie Taylor. Probably on points. They'll probably give her the decision. Katie Taylor, look, I've seen enough of her fights. I know what I'm going to get with Katie Taylor. Going to get a lot of punches. To be fair, the Pursuing fights, the first one was better. Even though I thought she lost, the first one was better than the second one. But they were still entertaining, actually, nonetheless. The first fight was definitely better. That was actually quite fun to watch. The first Pursuing fight. It was definitely better than the second one. The second one wasn't bad, but the first one was better. Watch documentary on Marciano. Say what you want to say, but boy could take some punches. That's what they said about him. They said that he could take a tremendous amount of punishment. You know, literally, he would just take them on the chin and keep coming to land his. That was how he did it. You know, footwork was all over the place, but the boy could punch. And he could punch. White messes Hughie Fury up. Yeah, I think that Dylan White would absolutely, I think he'd batter Hughie Fury, personally. I don't know how Hughie Fury would cope if you had someone who was as aggressive as Dylan White, who would actually put it on him as Dylan White would. I can't see Hughie Fury come. Remember years ago, I think it was 2016, was it a Brit? Now, I could be wrong about this, but I know there was talk about it. Was it for the British title where Hughie Fury and Dylan White were ordered to fight by the board? I think it might have been that. And I think John Fury said, the response he said was, that fight's not going to happen. We don't fight friends. But Dylan White was up for it. Now, I could be wrong on that, but I think it was something like that was what they said. So, Dylan White versus Hughie Fury. I remember back, did anyone remember when Hughie Fury was on the come up and you heard fights being mentioned about this guy, that guy, this guy, and it was just like, no. Whereas now it's like they'll fight Povetkin, they'll fight Parker, they'll fight Pulak, they'll fight kind of anyone at this stage. It's weird. A Jagba might need to place his jab with more accuracy and just enough power to wear down Hughie Fury. I think like a Jagba could possibly, he definitely hits hard, a Jagba. I definitely think that. I definitely do think his power is there. But I just think that he's just a bit too crude. Hughie Fury is just, Hughie Fury is not the most aggressive. You know, even though he showed a bit more aggression against Wack. I think that against someone like a Jagba, someone who is live, we've seen what Hughie Fury is like against big punchers, or people they perceive to be big punchers. He does tend to really think that little bit more about what he's going to do. And it's ironic because Hughie Fury is shown to have a decent chin. You know, he's never really shown to have much, you know, in the way of getting hurt. Like, he took a few shots from Povetkin. Povetkin can crack. Still on White. Povetkin can crack. A bloke I knew once called me by my surname for 7 years because he thought it was my name. You didn't, didn't have the heart to correct them. I know. I don't think I've ever had anyone really like get my name proper wrong in real life. I don't think I've ever. No, I don't think I've ever had anyone get my name proper wrong in real life. No, I've had some people think it was something else, be like, yo, was that your name? It's like, no. But no, I've never had it that bad. G-Man, what are your thoughts on doping and boxing? In my opinion, it's widespread. Do you think they need a lifetime ban for the next big star who's caught? Do you think there needs to be a lifetime ban for the next big star who's caught? I don't think you could ever implement a lifetime ban personally. I'm sure there's always ways around it. But if you talk about the next big star, I'm serious here, people. I wouldn't be at all shocked, right? If, say Anthony Joshua loses to Tyson Fury, right? Wouldn't shock me in the slightest if him or someone like that ends up coming back dirty. Seriously, wouldn't shock me even in the slightest if one of them did. Because I think that whilst you have people who are cash cows or perceived to be cash cows, they get that little bit of, I don't say protection, but they get the benefit of the doubt with certain things. Do you know what sort of way? Whereas you take that away, all of a sudden you're failing a bit more frequently, or you're having a few more issues. So a lifetime ban, they need to put it like this, right? Say Canelo, look at when he got caught with the Mexican beef, 6-month ban. I'm sure he fights in a normal year, he could only fight twice a year anyway. So like for me, it's just like, well, where's the punishment? Like, where's the actual you're a world level fighter. You're fighting twice a year anyway. So what? You tested positive for something in September. Okay, you can't fight till March. Oh, that's grand. I wasn't going to fight till May anyway. It's like, where's the punishment? Like, I mean, there's nothing. That's literally what it's like. You fight in September, test positive, and say they backdate your ban till the month of September. Okay, you tested positive in September, so you get the 6-month ban from then. But like, that's grand. I wasn't planning on fighting until May anyway. It's like, well, where's the ban? Like, where's the punishment? She wasn't even going to fight in the month of March anyway. So, it's just White's resume when you pick it apart isn't all that. Chisora, not bad. The Parker win is his best win. Lucas Brown was way past it. Marius Wack, Marius Wack's pretty much a journeyman at this stage. Rivas, still quite unproven. You know, he had a good win over Brian Jennings, but still quite unproven. Who else? The Parker win is the best win, definitely. And I'd love to see that fight again. I really would. I would love to see that fight again. Yo, JL, yes, G-man. Big up. Thank you, my man. Thank you so much. We got here, we got Joyce beats Dylan White. I'd pick Joe Joyce to beat Dylan White, yeah. I agree with you on that. Yeah, no. I agree with you there. I'd go with Joe Joyce to pick Dylan White. So I would. I definitely think that. Dylan White takes 6 weeks out from boxing and go dance classes. I'm serious, get some feet moving. His feet aren't the quickest, I know that. I definitely know Dylan White's feet ain't the quickest. Huey Fury needs Kronk. Huey Fury and Kronk Gym. Oh boy, I don't know if that would. He is not leaving his dad. No way in hell. 3 minutes for the ladies. They are all up for being equal with men. I think the 3 minutes would make it a lot more entertaining, personally. You know, I think that the women's boxing, if there's one thing I would add to it, it's definitely 3-minute rounds. 100% 3-minute rounds. I might even try and change the gloves as well. You know, maybe instead of using 8-ounce gloves, they should use 6-ounce gloves, because I think the 8-ounce gloves are small on a man, but look at someone like Kate here, look quite big on her. Maybe get the glove size down a bit more. Just maybe not. If they could even do 6-ounce boxing gloves, but definitely I would do the 3-minute rounds. 100%. Joe Joyce reminds me a bit of Lenny from Mice and Men. Never seen that. Do not understand the power, but it's brutal. I've never seen Mice and Men, so I couldn't comment on that. AJ Fury build up and the moron Tony Bell, or Harley Quinn, I should say, actually. Correct me. I hope AJ or Fury chin him, even if AJ. Bellew, yeah, man, he is. When I read that article yesterday on him, I was just like, what the hell? Like, why are you, like, don't put me on a team if my friends are on it. Come on now. Come on now. You got to call it like it is. Shannon Courtney is basically Canelo when she fights Ball next. Eddie's put so much into Shannon Courtney unless Ball KOs. Yeah, I think that as well. And I do think it's a bit unfair that they're giving Shannon Courtney a run out and they're not giving Rachel Ball a quick run out. I think that's a bit unfair. You know, considering I think Shannon Courtney fought last, I do think that's a bit unfair. And yeah, like, I think Rachel Ball will win, but I don't think she'll get the decision. I think that even if Rachel Ball does what she needs to do and outboxes Shannon Courtney, I don't think she's they've invested a lot in Shannon Courtney. I don't know why, but they've invested a lot. Ebony Bridges will KO Shannon Courtney. Ebony Bridges back out in March. We'll need to see. I definitely will be picking Ebony Bridges over Shannon Courtney. Rachel Ball, I think, would be a bit trickier just because of the height difference. I think Ebony Bridges is only like 5 foot and Shannon Courtney's like 5'10". That'd be a bit trickier. But Shannon Courtney's never impressed me. Never impressed me. Always looked very just a bit all over the place. And I've actually watched a few of Ebony Bridges' fights online. And to be fair, like technically she's actually quite good. Like she turns the punch as well. She rotates them well. Just need to see how she looks. She's been out of the ring quite a year, and she's back out in March. So we'll need to see how that goes. But definitely, I'll pick her over Shannon Courtney. I mean, Shannon Courtney, Jesus, people. And against Rachel Ball, I thought she lost that fight personally. Shannon Courtney did. The fact that Matthew Macklin was absolutely like that was annoying when you were listening to when you were seeing Rachel Ball land right hands on Shannon Courtney, and Matthew Macklin is saying great right hand by Shannon Courtney. It's like, what? Huh? She didn't even land. It's like, what the hell? So yeah, it'd be an interesting one. It was the Sun article which called, I'm missing stuff here. Fundora is at 154. Is he like the 5 foot? No, is he like 6'4" or something like that? He's at 154. It's crazy. By the time, man, I don't know how he does it. He's at 154 pounds and he's like 6'4". He looks bizarre when I see him in there. What are your thoughts on Daniel Dubois going to Mark Tibbs? He needed to get rid of Martin Bowers, but in terms of Mark Tibbs, I don't know if that's necessarily the right move. Maybe I would have gone with someone else, but maybe Mark Tibbs can bring something out of Daniel Dubois. Maybe he can. Dubois is very. Someone said someone commented on one of my videos and said they don't think he's socially awkward. I completely disagree. I mean, you only have to see him in the interviews, and there's a lot about him that's just, he just seems so, it's just weird. Like he's like, I've said it before, it's like a man-child. It's just so strange. He's just like a bit of a man-child. And I definitely think he's socially awkward. Definitely, 100% I think he's socially awkward. It's just, definitely. But he needs a team. He needs a whole revamp in his team. He needs someone who can really just bring him out of his shell, if that's possible. I don't know if it necessarily is. But if you get someone who can really just get him out of his shell, get someone a bit loud, honestly, maybe someone even young, maybe get someone like Ben Davis. Seriously. I'm genuinely serious. I think Dubois, maybe being around someone like Ben Davison, who is a bit kind of, young and brash and out there, be like, come on, man. And being around guys like Josh Taylor and guys like that, maybe that would actually benefit Dubois. Be around the boys, if you know what I mean. Because when he's with Martin Bowers, it's kind of, and he's with, it's kind of all in-house and very kind of, this is how it is. Get him in with like Ben Davis, some of the boys maybe, and see how that goes. Maybe you bring him out of himself, Seriously. And I know someone might say, but it's not about being, it might help. It might very well help. Shannon Courtney is going to have trouble with anybody who can counter effectively and is technically sound. Yeah, because she is crude. She is very crude. But that's what I think about Dubois versus having Mark Tibbs in his corner. Definitely. Yeah, because look at the team that Ben Davison has around. Look at some of the fighters he has around him. Right? I think that now, I know Nathan Gorman said that when they were on the GB team, Dubois was very reserved and very mellow. But maybe in the pros, maybe having someone like Ben Davison there who was he's not the most abrasive guy in the world, definitely not. But having guys like Josh Taylor, I think Lee McGregor is with them as well. Having some of the guys like that who are just there maybe to have a laugh and, kind of stuff like that, that might help. Seriously, that might help bring Dubois out. Maybe it's, seriously, I'm not being funny. Maybe if you bring him out of a shell, you might add something to it. Like, seriously, a lot of boxing is mental. And maybe having someone like that, where you're in that kind of environment with the boys and you're just, because they seem to have a good environment, they seem to have a good laugh. Who knows? Maybe it might bring out the best in him. Maybe it might break, because he's not technically he's not terrible. You know, he's definitely not terrible from a technical point of view. There's nothing wrong there, but he just needs something that little bit extra, if you know what I mean. Boot and Dubois will be a good match. Yeah, Adam Boot. I don't know if Dubois would necessarily be athletic enough for Adam Boot, if you know what I mean. I think Adam Boot tends to, so it's not that he tends to, but his style, you kind of need to have a decent amount of athleticism for Adam Boot. And that's not to say he wouldn't train Dubois, I'm sure he would, but I don't know if that would fit. I don't know if Dubois, I think Dubois might be too cumbersome. Like, look, I didn't think Joe Joyce looked good under Adam Boot. Didn't think he looked that good at all. 64 in the chat now, my man. 64 in the chat. If he's good, last time I'll ask if he's could smash the like button. How do we think Kelly Evan Easton will play out? I think Evan Easton's going to win on points. I think his pressure is going to tell. I think the body, I think he's going to, if he puts in a sustained body attack, Kelly is done. Kelly's done for. If he takes Kelly's legs away, he's done for. Absolutely done for. I can't really see anything other than like I say, I can't see it. No, definitely not. But I definitely think that we're looking at a Dubois, or not Dubois, we're looking at a win for Avanesian, definitely. Dubois' problem doesn't have as we'll see if I think Mark Tibbs will be able to sort it out. I think Bowers to me lacked a bit of experience as a trainer, and I think having someone like Tibbs will improve it. I'm sure Mark Tibbs will improve plenty of aspects of Daniel Dubois. He needs time. You know, Dubois, he's lucky. He has that time. He's plenty of time to adjust himself under Mark Tibbs and see how he feels. And oh, well and good. If it doesn't work, you can move it on. You can go and look for someone else. I do think, and I'm not just saying it again, I'll say it again, but Ben Davison and the lads, that wouldn't be a bad shout. Get him into that environment, you know, a bit of a laugh, and there we go. He should be good to go. He should be good to go. Peeps, lads and lassies, because we got some lassies in here as well, believe it or not. Lads and lassies, I'm going to call this stream quits here, right? Appreciate everyone locking in. We had a hell of a laugh, so we did. We had a hell of a laugh in here. Big up to everyone in the chat. All right, big up to everyone in the chat. No, hang on a sec. I'll answer one or two. From a psychology point of view, Virgil Hunter. Is Virgil Hunter still training, though? Because I haven't seen him train a fighter in a while. Good point about Dubois needing work on his social skills, hanging out with the lads and getting, yeah, that might help. But yeah, that's basically what I have to say on that. Last question: if Billy Joe beats Canelo, oh yeah, he would be begging for the rematch. He will be begging for the rematch. Any more vids? Yes, we got vids coming tomorrow. I'm actually going to record them this evening. But lads, I'm going to call it quits here, right? If you could, on the way out, as Nick, my man here, says, smash the like button. A big up to Mark Unrivaled. I've had a good stream. I almost, and I say almost, got away with not making names be an issue, because I said Kira's name right the first time, but then I made an absolute arse of it the second time. So apologies again to that, but we all had a good laugh. That was the highlight of here. But yeah, big up to everyone in the chat, as Nick says there, if you could, lads, on the way out. I'm going to probably do record 2 or 3 tonight, because it's early enough. It's only 7:20. So we'll do a few tonight, and then we'll see how the week takes us. Probably Wednesday or Thursday, probably Wednesday. We'll do our midweek stream, as we so often do, because I enjoy doing them as well. Really enjoy doing them. And yeah, we see where the week takes us. But lads, appreciate everything. I appreciate you all in here. Yeah, we're going to probably do. Oh, big up Intangible. Didn't know you were in here. Big up to you, man. But yeah, we're probably going to do one Wednesday evening, whatever. And yeah, man, enjoyed it. Hope you all had a great time as well. Great chat. You and Ade are the best. Yeah. Hear that? Me and Ade. Appreciate that, lads. Appreciate that a lot. Big up to everyone in the chat. Lads, have a great evening. Big up to Cara. No, big up to Kira. Big up to Kira every time. Lads, I'll talk to you all. You'll see us all tomorrow. We'll get some videos out. We'll do a stream midweek. Enjoy your Sunday and enjoy your week. If anyone's going through anything, I hope it gets better. It will. Trust me. Big up to everyone. Peace.